ApeCoin, and the Banana Bill Explained. Apes gotta eat together.
Welcome to the BAYC Council Spaces. Exciting week this week. We have a bunch of ApeCoin proposals, but this one's a big one. So we have a lot of special guests coming through from multiple angles, trying to have this discussion, trying to inform our community as best as possible. Without further ado, I'd like to introduce our host, Josh Ong with BAYC Council, and Loss, aka the Holler Collective from ApeCoin/ApeComs. Thank you guys. Take it away.
GM. Yeah, thanks for having us. How you doing, Lost?
I'm great. I'm excited. I think this is our first time, not our first time on stage, definitely not our first time together. We've been around each other at a few Ape Fests now, but happy to have this first time co-hosting with you up on the stage. Glad the Banana Bill was the one that brought us together.
Yeah, 100%. This is a fun collab, so glad to team up here.
Yeah, 100%. I see we got Juan Cam up here. We got Spencer. We got Ape Curian. I'm not sure if we're expecting that Cameron might join us or if anybody else from the Banana Bill team that's in the audience or maybe is listening in will be able to pop up on the stage today. But the proposal is up to vote now, just before we jump into it, because I kind of know some of these guys up here, and we could easily go for an hour about just the Banana Bill, recent events around Ape Chain. The community has 75 proposals right now. We're just looking at it this morning. 75 proposals in progress at the DAO. But it's Ape Chain season. AIP 454 is live, so don't forget to get your votes in as you guys are listening to our discussion. And I don't know, Josh, I know you've listened to some of these stages. I'm just gonna go right forward. Have you voted yet?
I don't think I've voted yet. I did elections the other week, and then I'll be honest, I'm not a massive bag holder, so I got my thing to throw my little drop in the bucket, and we'll go with it. But yeah, looking forward to voting for the crew.
No, that's great. We love to get all the different perspectives in there. Juan, I don't think we've had a chance to hear from you yet on any of the stages, and I'm feeling, I don't know if it's like a direct aggression from this ape, and maybe it's just because you're in that same family with Space Ape and Farmer. Maybe, I don't know what it is, but what's up? Welcome. Happy to have you up here with us.
Hey, how you doing? Good to finally speak with you. Sorry that it took so long to connect with you, but definitely not aggressive. I think I may have responded to one of the first tweets about the space. I'm just hungry, man. Apes got to eat.
That ape looks, damn hungry. I can tell you that much. The ape looks damn hungry. Maybe when we do these stages normally and we sort of introduce the proposals, we'll let the authors have the opportunity to sort of introduce themselves. And I think for the community, it might be interesting because, not just in regards to the Banana Bill, but just sort of in general, we don't really get the chance to hear from you too much. You're cooking the partnerships. We don't want to hear from you on these damn stages. Stay the hell away from Twitter. But since you're here today, and thank you for being here, maybe if you would, just maybe tell people a little bit about yourself, what you've been working on, and not even just related to the Banana Bill, just for you.
No, that's great. And you're right. If I'm on these spaces too much, you should kick me out. I got to be doing a job, right? So I live in the city. I've already had some back-to-backs already, and definitely blocked this space out, and hopefully some others throughout, today and tomorrow, and then of course some quarterly updates when the bill hopefully, knock on wood, goes through. Obviously, I appreciate the invitation, and I understand and recognize the importance of not just showing up on spaces like this, but being present. And I want to be as helpful as possible across all the things that we do, and even on this space. And so I will say, I had to kick out my teenage son, he's got summer break, so I had to take the kitchen area because the Wi-Fi is best in that area. And then he left me with this encouraging note before heading off to a local park. He's like, "Dad, good luck. You'll do great. You have the perfect face for Twitter Space." So I'm definitely starting on a low benchmark, even for my kid. But quick intro about myself. The bill, if you've read the bill, obviously head of partnerships, brand partnerships at Yuga Labs. Before actually joining Yuga Labs, I had the great fortune of working very closely with Josh. Josh is actually pretty much the reason I kind of got red pilled into Web3. Josh Young, dear friend, even before in the Web2 world. And so I knew Josh way before he had any hair on his face, and his hair did not go past his shoulders. But obviously, I went from I have had a cool professional arc, I would say, working with startups, working on kind of the agency side, working on some of the largest brands in the world. My hope is here to bring some of those strategic partnerships and really focused on kind of those commercial agreements that align with obviously the goals of the Banana program and ultimately brings value to ApeChain and the DAO and of course the community. And so I know that all of you care so much about the community, taking time out on a Monday before the long July 4th break, and to even have a few folks on the space now means a lot. And so anyway, that's a little bit about me. I think one last thing I'll add is I've always been someone who's been pretty curious and a deep desire to be part of something that impacts culture in a profound way. And that's probably why getting red pilled into Web3 was a very easy thing for Josh probably to do. And this Web3, this ecosystem, this community, it's always piqued my curiosity and the profound impact it can have on technology, culture, business, and community. So I'm here. I'm hooked. I'm here for the long run, and excited to build with all of you guys.
Yeah, one, it was a lot of fun working together at Board Ventures, and then I think when the UGOP came along, it just made so much sense to kind of send you off, kick you out of the nest, let you fly. The apes fly, apes don't fly, climb the trees, whatever you do. And yeah, I think it's so funny because so many people would approach us at BRV and be like, well, we want to work with Yuga, and so I think that Rolodex that you brought over, and I think you'll bring over ApeChain as well, is so clutch. And yeah, glad to see you be on the same stage for different reasons, and glad to see you thriving over there.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Thrive is such an interesting word. I almost feel like I have to shout out ThankApe. You said thrive. Everybody's so juiced about ThankApe. So just whatever. Shout out to the ApeCoin family, the old ThankApe crew. Everybody's super excited about them. But said thrive. ThriveCoin is their sort of base protocol. Had to do it. I threw some invites out there. I see we fished up some more of the Bored Ape Yacht Club Community Council, and thank you guys for being so generous with the stage up here. No, the DAO is sort of new for a lot of the community still, even though it's been 2 years. There are always sort of changes going on. But if you guys are listening in, if you don't have an ape, but you're looking at all of these apes and you're like, damn, I'm out. It's okay. It's all right. You don't even need the Bored Ape. We would actually really like if you have the Bored Ape. I'm just going to be honest. It seems like the community seems to really appreciate if you do have the Bored Ape, just transparently. But you only need one ApeCoin. Okay, you only need the one ApeCoin, and you can completely participate in the DAO, and you can participate on the ApeChain. Jay Bond, you and Josh Ong are matching backgrounds. I'll get into it on the backgrounds. So you guys are winning today. I'm coming to you next. One of the new liaisons for the community. Maybe if you would, I think a lot of people see you around the community a lot and posting, but if you could just maybe give us an introduction to yourself through the role of the Bored Ape Yacht Club Community Council, and maybe just a little bit about your experience over the past couple of months and what you've been doing.
I guess that's me.
That's right. You're on the spot. You're on the stage. You're on the spot.
All right. Hi, everyone. So I'm Jay Bond, part of the BAYC Council. Obviously, I'm here to support the council spaces. Really looking forward to learn more about the banana bill. It's midnight from where I am, coming from the Philippines. So apologies if I'm quite groggy already and ready to sleep. But I'm here and looking forward to chop it up. So quick intro about myself. As Lost mentioned, I'm part of the council. I handle Made by Ape stuff, and over the past few weeks we've seen a surge in terms of interest from a lot of the Made by Apes businesses with regards to participating with the ApeCoin ecosystem, and this is largely because of the Thank Ape program. So currently we've seen 20 businesses already getting grants. We're expecting 10 more to be added to the list, so excited for that. And I just hope that more MBAs would be opting in and participating with the ApeCoin ecosystem, as this can be very beneficial moving forward. So just out here trying to cover all of those. So we'll have our monthly newsletter out soon to cover all of those things that's happening within the MBA side of things. And for MBAs out here who have IRL products, please don't forget to fill up if you're interested to be in the Ape Fest in Lisbon. So the form was already posted by Spicy, so fill that up. But I'm just all around here doing a lot of other things in the space. And back to you, Lost.
Oh, thank you. That's That's what we're here for. I appreciate you for being here with us at almost the worst o'clock at night and at the end of a weekday. Oh, thank you so much. And don't forget to tap in if you're listening in. I mean, did it on purpose. He's the NBA guy. I mean, he's the liaison. If you want to tap into Ape Chain, you got Spencer, you got Ape Curian, you got Juan Kim, you got Cameron up here. But we're talking about we took over the Bored Ape Yacht Club Council stage. J Bond is the NBA guy over here, but we've also got Tiger up here behind 2 accounts. So let's just cover the Bored Ape Yacht Club Council before we totally take over with the Banana Bill. We lured everybody in with the title, but we got you. It's an introduction to the council. Tiger, thank you for helping us to put this together, and congratulations on the Hollow Gang Ape. I can't wait to see what merch comes first. How you doing?
Yo, Lost. Juan is on a tight schedule, man. No one wants to hear from us right now. We all want to hear from Juan. Like, come on. Yo, everybody can see us on the timeline all the time. But we got to get the real alpha and the TLDR from the Yuga side. So I'm just gonna swerve this real quick and put it back on you guys.
Well, fine. See, I told you Tiger put everything together, and she's keeping it together. All right, you guys know Spencer, you guys know Jordan, but we do have Cameron up here. He was up on the first Banana Bill stage, and rounding it up, the voting does close here in a couple of days. Cameron, thanks for being here. Maybe for anybody who doesn't know, if you would just give us the quick intro, and then we'll jump right into it. Maybe you could just even segue us into sort of your experience working on the Banana Bill and what you're looking forward to next, as this thing does seem to have so much support.
Yeah, appreciate it as always. Good to see everyone. I'm glad to be here again. So quick background on me. I'm Chief Legal Officer here at Yuga. I've been with the company for 2 years, known the guys since the days where we didn't know their real names. Been a believer in this community from the start. Before that, I was associated, multiple law firms, international and national, with a focus on sort of fintech and crypto. So I've been in the space since 2016-ish. To the question of sort of what my experience is, I mean, I think one of the important pieces here is just knowing how much thought really went into from the special counsel, and shout out to Abam and Trippy and so many others who, Jordan and Spencer and so many others in the background giving advice, like how much thought really went into this bill and what it really means for the community, to create an opportunity where there's a system that's really supposed to be driving value back to the community and to the DAO itself. That grant programs are great, but having discernible, identifiable, objective metrics of what success looks like, and it's sort of mission driven, is really what this is about. And I think that I'm excited to be working with Juan and the rest of the advisory committee to really put our stamp on what that could look like, across industries, across sectors. I know that's a lot of like sort of consultant speak, but really that's what this comes down to, is like we're trying to build something for the long term and make ApeChain a place that when we look back, it almost should feel like it was never not there. This has always been the place for apes.
I love it. That's the segue right there. I mean, Juan, the head of brand partnerships, this is the place for apes. What are you thinking is next? I mean, I know everyone's kind of thinking, okay, we hope it's approved. 18 million votes is a pretty significant amount of votes in favor in the ApeCoin DAO. I mean, I've been voting every week, every other week for the past couple of years. There's only 100,000 against. It's like less than 1% against. What are you thinking for next steps, getting people involved? I mean, you don't have to give us any crazy leaks, but I mean, maybe top level, are there like any big names that you're hoping to sort of pull in? Is there anybody from the community even maybe that you've got your eye on? What are you thinking?
No, thanks, Lost. I appreciate it. I think maybe I'll just take a minute just to kind of level set of like, I think I've heard from people, and some people have DM'd and like, oh yeah, glad to see you at Yuga. What have you been up to? So maybe I'll just talk a little bit of what I've been up to the last couple months, and then how I think this opportunity, just to be able to be part of the advisory committee means for kind of my little bit of like added on of my normal 9 to 5. So, I sit across all the business units here at Yuga Labs, and probably the first month is like I spent a lot of time just getting to know each of the business units, right, and the leadership across of that. And safe to say, we all know it's been one of those things where we're like, hey, we're growing, building, tough market, all of that stuff, but it's still a very robust team with a lot of committed, passionate leaders, some of the hardest working people I've met in Web 2 and Web 3. And at least for me, if I can be frank here, I mean, it's been a steep learning curve across not only just the business units, but just the knowledge that everybody brings to the table. And so as head of brand partnerships, at least with Yuga Labs in that role, my job is to, introduce and connect Yuga Labs and all the different business units to brands, who wants to, partner with, the Web3 leader in the space. And so, most of you here on this space know kind of our tagline, or, the about us that you can almost say in your sleep. We're the Web3 leader when it comes to building culture on the blockchain, right? And we've done that through storytelling. We've done that through amazing experiences, both, digital and IRL. And really, Web3 has been shaped through our holders and our community. And so we want to continue that storytelling and innovation. And so what I've been doing now, obviously, outside of learning, introducing Yuga to a bunch of brands, connecting with brands that I have a strong network to, but never really had an opportunity to be like, this is how you should come into blockchain or Web3. And Josh knows this well during our BRV days. It's like, man, all these brands are curious and they want to do something, but you can't go to a huge Fortune 500 brand and just be like, hey, you want to work with, you have to like literally give them a reason why it's large enough for their vision. And so I think that's what we have this opportunity with Yuga Labs. And so every week I'm seeing Yuga growing and innovating, and how do you match that product market fit with the brands that we're talking to. And then, in that partnerships pipeline, it's obviously filled with dozens and dozens of contacts and network and people, but it's prioritizing maybe like even the top 5, top 10 that really aligns with us, at least quarter by quarter. And then also prioritizing across all the multiple streams of how I'm building that pipeline, my network, inbound and outbound, obviously Yuga employees, community, all of you folks who are either sending it directly to us or DMs or to the other folks in the Yuga staff. And then by a larger extension, through new vehicles or apparatus like Banana Program. And so lost, kind of like you mentioned, like maybe I can't drop too many, actual names or alpha, but I think the partnerships pipeline range from the typical, kind of largest categories of business in the market, whether it's automotive, beverage, retail, financial services, technology, and media. And so, my main responsibility here is to identify those that really align, meet with them, and then just build high confidence with them and with you all, and secure these strategic partnerships so that we can actually hit the goals of the Banana Program, which I think Cam kind of mentioned it already, is that once we do that, that brings value to ApeChain, to the ApeCoin DAO, and ultimately enhances the ecosystem and our community.
Yeah, I appreciate it. And Josh, I was going to leave. I was actually almost going to let there be an awkward pause, but I'm curious. Do you have any questions that you had on your mind that you were hoping to raise during the stage today? I know Tiger brought up that we do sort of have a hard cutoff for one today.
Yeah, thanks. I mean, I'm always a big fan of like the most basic questions, is because you never know who's coming in and what the context is. And so would love from anyone who's on stage, just a summary of like, what is Banana Bill? And how is it structured? And then kind of how does this kind of advisor council, support that?
Yeah, Josh, maybe I'll take that one and then pass it to Spencer to add on as authors. So basically, the overall idea around the Banana Bill and the Banana Program that'll come out of it is that as we're launching ApeChain, for ApeChain to be competitive in this industry and be a place where developers want to build their businesses, build their applications, we need to have a ecosystem fund, essentially. And Banana Program is that fund. So just in terms of details around it, it has 100 million ape earmarked towards 2 broad initiatives, one being commercial agreements and one being user incentives. Now, these initiatives are not completely separate, right? We envision the idea of using user initiatives as one of our tools in creating commercial agreements with groups that'll be coming on to ApeChain and tapping the Banana Program. So the main reason why we wanted to go and put something forth like this, while we already all know that there's an AIP process in place as well, is that building out a blockchain ecosystem is complicated and requires a lot of very complicated dependencies and trade-offs that the AIP process is not very well suited for. So, a couple of examples that we've mentioned on previous spaces just kind of give you an example of why this exists and why we think it's, going to be a great thing.
Thanks, Elon.
Jordan, let's get the lowdown for the banana bill, and
Yep.
then okay.
Yeah, I'll keep it tight. So basically, the point being there that with a blockchain ecosystem, there's good deals and bad deals that need to be made in order to create an environment that is beneficial for developers and users. Right? There's going to be necessary infrastructure that might have difficulty going through an AIP process or refuses to have that be public and allow their company to take on the FUD that we all go through with AIP processes. And if we don't integrate those types of things, that can close off a huge amount of developers and really stymie the progress around growing ApeChain. So, by putting in place a program like this with this amount of funding and staffing the administration with experts in the industry, I mean, you've heard from Juan. That guy is really smart and knows what he's doing. You heard from Cameron, also really smart, knows what he's doing. Spencer, you guys have probably heard of, on 8 zillion spaces. And then on top of that, we have Bam and we have Trippy, and we are now going to have up to 11 members of the community and a couple of other big names on the advisory group once we bring them on board too. So I really think that we're setting ourselves up for really long-term sustainable growth of ApeChain. And I think Banana Program is going to be the thing that really kicks this into high gear and makes ApeChain, one of the largest chain launches this year and creates a sustainable environment for it to be a leading chain going forward in our industry too. So Spencer, I don't know if you had anything else you wanted to add on it.
Yeah, and I'll be quick. I noticed that you didn't note that I was smart or talented, so I'll just write that down and remember it. But
I've known you too long. I've known you too long, Spencer.
But no, I think you hit a lot of the nails on the head. I think what's really important about the banana bill is that it allows for some intentional design around the ecosystem. So, the DAO is coming from a really decentralized place. Most chains, when they start from a really centralized place and then decentralize over time. Here we have exactly the opposite, which is awesome and cool. But what this bill does in part is also just kind of set up some structure, set up some flows, make it, easier and effective so that we can kind of build an ecosystem that's not just like a random chain called ApeChain, but one that really, makes use of mutants and apes and all the rest of the associated IP, one that really leverages ApeCoin and makes sure that it is included in all of the protocols, all the applications, all the games that are brought on board. I think that the thing that everybody likes to really talk about is the number and the amount of awesome stuff that it will bring. But I think equally important is kind of the structure and the process and the flows that this sets up. But on top of that, I've said before, and I've gotten into a little bit of trouble with Arbitrum and folks like that, but I'm going to say it again, which is that we see an opportunity for ApeChain to be the biggest of the orbit chains, right? And to take up so much mind space and attract so many users within there. And this really allows us to kind of fulfill on that promise and that goal and kind of deliver something that should make, ApeCoin holders proud, that should make apes proud, and kind of lives up to the expectations that I think, we all have for the community.
I love it. And I appreciate you guys, Jordan and Spencer, for being so open and willing to share information with the community and sharing so much of your time. These guys must have Calendly links that are floating around out there with everybody by now that are full from 12 to 12. I mean, across the clock, these guys are always, he said cry emoji, get out of here. This guy is just in the trenches Telegram DJ. And every time I look on Telegram, last seen moments ago, Spencer, guaranteed. So definitely tap into all these guys up on the stage. If you're not following them and you're curious about the banana bill, the ApeChain, it's coming soon. Testnet is live. And I mean, now that it's here, and now that it's relatively here, and the discussion's been back and forth. If since the chain was sort of approved, since the original partnership was approved, now we've come to the banana bill. I just want to hear sort of from your perspective and just your personal opinion. Why do we need a chain? What does the chain change in your perspective in our ecosystem here?
Yeah, I think, I mean, even in a lot of our internal meetings, we've been talking about it where it's been one of those things where, you know, for some, especially maybe even for me, like it helps to like dumb it down to be like, why do we need another chain? And I think that's part of the question that you're asking. And for us, you know, you look at, you know, how do we provide kind of this, you know, I mean, honestly, like scalable platform for all these builders in the community, and maybe all the way to not just projects and games, but also protocols and that want to utilize ApeChain. And I think for us, you know, some of the high kind of thoughts and like, I guess even like engineering type of like buzzwords of like, all right, it's going to enhance efficiency. ApeChain is going to have, you know, interoperability within kind of the ApeCoin larger ecosystem. But for me, when I think about it in terms of like partnerships, it's actually solving, you know, a few things that is going to just make our ecosystem and even our brand even stronger. It's going to foster innovation and growth. It's going to make all the things that we do more valuable and widely used. I know, you know, when Garga and Figgy were talking a lot about it on kind of a last call, it was like, hey, how do we also solve, you know, kind of this idea of discovery and distribution? And I think even, you know, getting a little into like maybe even like Figgy's brain a little bit is like, oh, some design thinking even has gone into ApeChain. And so how do we take from some of the best, you know, world-class content platforms and do our part to simplify the onboarding experience, whether, you know, we're using it by integrating onto dApps and things of that nature. So for me, if we can get eyeballs, we can get new users, and we really have this discovery and distribution, then we've actually built something that can scale. And if anything can scale and bring kind of that real enriched experience, wow, there's going to be, hopefully, I mean, that's our hope, is that we have partners that are now knocking on our door. And I think we all know it's not 2022 anymore. And so we're living in a new age. And so we have to be on the offensive, and we have to build, we have to innovate, and obviously we have to draw people in. And I think the ApeChain has the real opportunity to do that. So that gets me excited every day to be able to even start talking about that and almost even slide that into conversations that I'm having with large partners. And just a quick anecdote, even right before this call, I was having a really large conversation with kind of a global company, and they were just talking about these sponsorships and partnerships that existed maybe a year or two ago, where it was all like, all right, here's a crypto exchange. It's going to be very traditional sponsorship. How do we put our brand name on banners and across all these things? And now these enterprises, what they're really looking for are like true on-chain activity. You know, how do people and their consumers use the chain? What's the utility? How can they use that tech to actually, whether it's loyalty, whether it's programs, whether it's rewards, whether it's those types of systems, I get really pumped about. And so as we build this, we believe partnerships will also start coming.
I do have one more question real quick, and we'll circle around the stage here a bit. But what's your pitch? I mean, I did just a little bit of research, and it looks like you've worked with some pretty big media companies in the past. So, I mean, you got in with Yuga. So, I mean, there must have been a lot of people that were interested in getting into that role. So you must have a pretty good pitch when you're going out there and you're selling things. What's the pitch when you're talking about ApeChain? When you can't tell us who the partners are, but when you're considering that you want to bring somebody in for a partnership now, what is your pitch for the ApeChain?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. And I think right now I've been leading mostly with kind of the larger Yuga Labs pitch of who we are, not only in terms of like our kind of OG status, what we've meant to culture, the type of community that we have, but also I think with ApeChain, with Otherside, with all these things that we're actually building, we're not stagnant. We're actually a company we're a brand that's pushing things forward. And I think a lot of times it's easy to kind of rest on what was instead of actually building for the future. And that's really the pitch. It's like, man, we're building for the future. So even things like this AIP, this banana program, like these things are ones where when you talk to someone who's either a chief brand officer or the chief marketing officer or someone who's kind of on that decision making, they want to know that their roadmap and their value of innovation, their value of bringing people onto something that feels new and maybe even first matters a lot to these large brands. And so we can actually say that. We can't, I don't think we could always have said that just by saying, hey, we were the first, in 2021, now we can say, no, we're actually going to be one of the first, if not leading the charge here. And so that's right now the kind of like larger pitch. I think, internally, to kind of like the family here, I think there's some confidence that you guys all should have in terms of like, I used the word apparatus before, but like we want to build and have a structure and system to get this done. We don't want blind confidence, but a real high level of belief on the team. Obviously, we have belief in our holders and our strength as a brand. And, you can't go into kind of a summer and be like, hey, it sounds better to be like, oh, it's the summer of the banana bill or the summer of, Ape Chain. But like internally, we're like, hey, it's going to be the summer of like SOP. We're going to have an actual like standard operating procedure. It's not very sexy to go in internal market like that, but we want to have like a step-by-step way to carry out just honestly like operations, like focus on efficiency, quality, accountability, of course. I think that's why you see at least 4 or 5 of us on this call and hopefully a unified vision that everyone it's felt across the community. And if we have that, more opportunities, more impact, it leads to more wins. And so that's our desire here.
This is the perfect segue to Cameron, but I feel like I would be remiss if I didn't give Josh the opportunity to follow up and just, any thoughts or anything that you're thinking as you're hearing all this. It sounds bullish to me. It sounds apish to me. I don't know about you.
Yeah, 2 things. One is like just a reminder for people out there with holding ApeCoin before Snapshot. When does the vote close? When can they weigh in on banana bill for Ape Chain? And then 2, I think like probably a big question, and we saw this with Arbitrum's ecosystem fund. Like just a lot of people want to know like where does the money go, right? Like it's a big chunk of ApeCoin setting aside to make sure that Ape Chain's going to succeed. Like we all get that, and then also people are like want to understand who's eating and kind of how it's going to be used responsibly. So I think talking about that could help people understand as they go into making a decision on the vote.
Oh, logistics is you guys got to get your votes in by Wednesday 6 p.m. PST. So you guys got less than 2 days. Apes got to eat. Apes have a tendency not to read too much, but get it in, get it done. You got a couple of days less to get your decision in. As far as like decision making and the money getting spent, we've actually got 2 of the folks that are going to be largely responsible for not necessarily the process itself. Largely in part for the process itself, but really the way that the bill is written is that a majority of these advisors from the advisory committee would need to be in agreement for funding to go out for these different commercial agreements. So having Juan and Cameron here, maybe they could provide some perspective. But I know we got Spencer and Jordan here, and I know they're itching over there to jump in on logistics. So Spence, Jordan, if either of you guys want to jump in.
Yeah, I'll keep it short because I'd love to then pass it on to Cameron and Juan to kind of, because at the end of the day, they'll be the decision makers. But just very quickly, there's 2 broad categories that the funding will go through, which is user incentives and commercial agreements, right? And a lot of the commercial agreements will also include user incentives in those agreements. So you can imagine a situation where part of the funding is for operating expenses around, the engineering needed for integrations. And part of it is some ApeCoin that can be used as user incentives for users using those applications. So that's kind of, the short answer on that. And it'll be a combination of going to infrastructure, tooling, applications around games, applications around, meme coin platforms and NFTs and creators and a whole bunch of other things that we think would be beneficial for ApeChain's long-term growth. And then finally, Spencer's leading the team that is basically the external arm of this program, doing the business development, bringing in the types of projects we want to see. My job as program facilitator and my team is going to be to make sure that when these pitches, I guess, are going to Juan and Cameron and the rest of the investment advisors, that they're not vague or poorly written or don't have good information in them. I'm going to be there helping guide people to make sure that this is something that has enough analysis, enough information that the investment advisors can look at this and really make a thoughtful decision. Information about financial ROIs, intangibles, total addressable markets, user bases, all sorts of stuff like that, comps analysis, etc. So, but let me pause there and see, if Cameron or Juan wants to kind of further elaborate on that as well, and what they're thinking from the decision maker seat.
Yeah, appreciate it, Jordan. Happy to jump in, and Juan, feel free to share as well. I mean, I think that at the end of the day, on the first basis, we were pretty clear. Like, the goal of this is not for the money to go out just for for fun and games, but really to go out with an intention on how to build, the chain, how to create a sustainable flywheel where there's sort of commerce that people are coming and spending and building here, and that allows you to really see a long-term future here. And so, I think Garga tweeted about it the other week that like a lot of these chains have relied on the tried and true method of like you get DeFi, liquidity brings users bring content, but that we're seeing the possibility of cutting through that, and having content first as a play. And so, looking for those opportunities to actually differentiate Ape Chain from other chains and why people are coming here and what's actually grabbing their attention. So we don't just have a system where people collect rewards here and then jump to the next. That's, I think, a key pillar of at least me from my advisory perspective. I'm looking at why is this project or this tooling or this game or this experience or this activation that's going to live on Ape Chain, why is that actually different? And these people who are building aren't just trying to capture rewards, and why their users aren't just people that are farming across all the different chains. So that's a big piece in my head. And I know there's been a lot of questions around KPIs and metrics, and like I think that you can hear from Jordan and Spencer and Juan and I, like there is a real analytical sort of framework that we have in mind about how to help navigate what is this next 2-year program, and try and build something with intention. And a lot of why we haven't been able to share that is because we want to maintain negotiating leverage against our counterparts. So appreciate the community understanding that like there is a plan in the background here. There is an expectation of performance, and that performance is supposed to drive value. We want to share as much as we possibly can, but we're also trying to get the best damn deals that we can.
Yeah, I'm glad you jumped up there, because my follow-up question for you, sort of coming off of Juan's discussion about sort of building value and the chain being this sort of new unique opportunity, and really that new opportunity, right? It's this built in this Arbitrum Orbit ecosystem. We're joining other sort of established, capable brands there, and just, I mean, so many different levels of opportunity. But just your personal perspective, and maybe some of your personal opinion, and you're bringing some of your experience with this ecosystem, and maybe before, how does the sort of discussion, the legal, the semantics of building the brand with this sort of sight on things like trademarks, or the taglines, or being a global community, sort of addressing different regulations across the globe. How does your sort of role tie in, and how does legal, and this is such a shitty question, but how does legal really loop into building value for the brand in these discussions?
I'm sure every lawyer has a canned speech about what value they bring, so I won't give that one. But, I think at the end of the day, lawyers sort of drive two values, particularly in this moment. One is, how do we protect from downside risk, right? How do we try to avoid the types of pitfalls that other chains have run into, either from infighting, from disputes, from regulatory risk? And then more importantly, perhaps, it's like, how do you actually create the right incentive alignment, with your counterparts? One of the downsides of decentralized systems is that while they have great hearts and great minds, the hands don't really work that well, because you have so many people trying to sort of move at the same time and in different directions. And so part of what this banana bill allows is for the hands to be, controlled in a much more contained way. And I think that's a great place for myself as a lawyer, for Wabam, who's, a lawyer, for Fenwick, who supports the foundation, for us to really have an impact on driving that incentive alignment on, through, frankly, creative deal making. If you sort of think back as to why VCs are so successful, why investment banks are so successful, why people in the product space are so successful, is because they really know how to drive a really good deal. I have faith in my skill. I have faith in Wabam and Fenwick and others. And at the end of the day, that's where we're going to produce the most value for the DAO through this program.
Yeah, I love it. No, that is a great question to an awful, or I mean a great answer. Sorry, a great answer to an awful question. I guess it comes up for me because like I've got the logo on the hat, right? Like the logo is on the token. I mean, we jump around the discussion so much, so it does seem like, I mean, not only the brand itself, but I think even individuals within the community sometimes struggle with really establishing themselves as a business that's capable of sort of benefiting from all of these different opportunities that are popping up now, being the first to sort of take action and having a structure that is scalable or sustainable. So maybe not the most interesting conversation, but we do have a lot of sort of entrepreneurial people. We have, I mean, hundreds of entrepreneurial people, hundreds of MBAs, hundreds of AIPs for people that are sort of looking to solve or looking to build around this IP, around these different trademarks. And Josh, I mean, go ahead. Go ahead, Cameron.
I was just going to jump in. I mean, I think the ape community, has been at the forefront of this for a long time, and frankly, I give a lot of kudos to the community that, like, we haven't seen the infighting, we haven't seen the bickering, we haven't seen people attack each other where their businesses might overlap, or their logos might look a little similar, or their apes might look similar. And so I just want to give a lot of credit to the community for realizing there's a much bigger play here, and that working together, and everyone building a small piece of a bigger brand actually has a lot of value. I will say that, I love what people that are involved in Made by Apes are doing. I love seeing the community get around it because it's a new mark. It's a new way that we can all establish value. And I think really driving at that for ApeCoin and ApeChain has an opportunity to really succeed. We've seen it work in a not so small way with Made by Apes. I think there's more than 450 or 500 businesses, that are already licensed up there. And I think you can imagine once you have a platform level technical infrastructure to expand that onto, I'm very psyched about seeing the explosion of that entrepreneurial spirit, across the ecosystem.
Yeah, I was going to throw it to Josh just because he's one of like the OGs who like damn near like helped to build. I mean, you helped to build the brand from the beginning. Like, I mean, for just like a little community lore, like helping to put together the first Ape Fest, sort of the mind, sort of helping to brainstorm and originate the idea. I did want to throw it over to you, Josh, to maybe just give some insight or perspective, maybe how you're feeling even now, just after the discussion, or maybe even having looked in over the development of the Ape chain over the past couple of weeks. And also, I did invite the other page team, invited Miker, and if I see the other page guys are in the audience, if any of you guys want to come up, I invited them to come up today because, I mean, one, they do have an AIP that's live, so I mean they're sort of in the same class of the first week of July 2024 with the banana bill, but also just as a matter of fact, these guys have got so many partnerships with so many of the people that you guys know across the ecosystem. I mean, the Somnia Network, ThankApe, the 10KTF is the big one that came up recently that if you guys didn't miss it, I mean, collaboration with 10KTF for the other page. I mean, it doesn't get more sort of relevant and in our ecosystem than that. And their AIP is pointed at and building on the Ape chain. So bringing the tech, bringing the other side as we have it now. I mean, the other page is damn near one of the closest things we've got to daily access to the other side right now. So bringing the other side right to the Ape chain. Did invite Miker to come up. But Josh, I mean, how are you feeling so far?
I'm excited. Yeah, I had a chance to work across from Cameron when I was advising Yuga on the Moonbirds transition, helping work on that plan. It was just always a pleasure to work with him. Super professional, very much understands Web3 and cares about the community, but also understands the importance of like making everything work in the real world. Anything from legal and business, and so I think we're in good hands. And as I've said before, have worked very closely with Juan, and I'm a big fan of his, and what he's able to do, especially when you let him run with a brand like Yuga and ApeChain. So yeah, I mean, I think of it kind of big picture as like building the ecosystem. I think it was Cameron was just saying that, like, you just need all the different pieces, right? And the goal is like, how do we make something that, like, the definition of platform, right, is like you can actually start to create more value than is put in, like that you have like something special happens where you go from like raw ingredients to, like, you know, actual things produced. And so I know that there are tons of brands that are interested in like exploring the space, jumping in. I know there's tons of builders, you know, Web3 native, community based, but also, you know, Web3 curious, that are just like, okay, how do I get started? Where should I build? Like, you know, who can help walk me through this? And so having a fund that's able to provide that support and those resources and really direct it toward ApeChain, I think is an important piece of like us getting the full stack for our community, and then seeing what the community can build with it alongside, you know, international brands and studios and all that stuff. So I'm excited for it. I actually just submitted my vote while we were on the space, because the link was up top. So want to get in before Wednesday. So yeah, looking forward to seeing what y'all cook. And I think, you know, it's in really good faith. If I got this right, like, I think my understanding is like Yuga is exempt from those incentives on the ecosystem fund. So Juan and Shibata, like, you're doing this as part of your Yuga work, and you're not taking from the DAO. You're giving back. So that to me is like a bullish sign from the company that they're kind of all in on supporting this and making sure it's a win. And so looking forward to seeing that.
I love it. I appreciate it. I wanted to give a little pause there in case Juan or Cameron wanted to pop in, but I know we got only a couple minutes left here, and I don't mean to rush you guys. I was sending you guys invites for like 45 minutes, but we do have Miker and Nova, and I mean, we got the orange ratio in the house. Now I'm looking at me and Nova and Cameron just lined up, and it looks beautiful. Miker, thanks for being here with us. I know we only have a few minutes, but maybe if you guys would just give us a brief introduction for yourselves. I think most people are pretty familiar with you guys. But the question that I had that I really wanted to get your insight from just in the whole discussion was, what really has it been for you that has been able to, or that's brought you so much success? Like, what would you say is like the key element in your guys' operation that's been sort of so instrumental in being able to pull together so many different major collaborations with your platform?
Yeah. First of all, thanks for having us up here. Always a pleasure to share the stage with the legends. But yeah, to answer the question directly, I think like every startup, like every product, definitely a lot of it is luck and timing. I think being in the right place at the right time definitely helps. And, you know, for me personally, I've been in the industry for a long time. So I think having some of these like deeper connections from the early days of my career has also been a big piece that's contributed to that. But apart from that, I think just the product itself. I mean, the mission of building culture on the blockchain is what we're all about. And I think the way that our product is situated and how it really appeals to like your emotional connection to your avatar, to the things that you care about, and being able to flex that stuff and showcase it is something that is really appealing to people. And I think it just well positioned us to be sort of at like the center of a lot of different things, a lot of different pieces that all sort of interconnect. Yeah, I'd say that's a big part of what helped contribute to it. And then obviously I'll let Leo jump in, but he's master networker, master connector. So his help along with the rest of the team, of course, some of the most passionate apes in the community, I think, as a lot of you know, Nana, Taylor Nelson, and Leo have just been so huge, so critical to where we're at.
Yeah, and I would just maybe briefly expand on that. Just say that the Bored Ape and the Yugaverse community kind of coming out as supporters have been really huge for us, right? Like most of our current users are members of the community. They've kind of come out and recruit others to join the other page. And that's been a really huge for us. And similar partnerships. I mean, I think most partnerships that we have now are like with the various community projects as well. So definitely excited about what's coming next. I think ApeChain is going to be huge, a huge success, and we are excited to be a part of it and build there.
Yeah, I love it. I appreciate you guys for coming up and spending the time. And again, they're building on the ApeChain. And I think the sort of overarching theme of the discussion is right place, right time. It's hard to say it's already ape season. It's hard to say it's never not been ape season if you've been in the community the whole time. Like it's always felt really good to be here. But if we're talking about the ApeChain, it's white paper season. It's been so long since we had a white paper season, but the things are cooking. Now is the time to be studying. Now is where the information is asymmetric. The information is not necessarily totally simple to get to, but if you're an ape, that changes things. If you've got an ApeCoin, that changes things. You have access to everybody in this community. It is not that difficult to get started. You just tap into any of the people you heard talking today. Anybody up here is happy to help you with a proposal, help you with finding your way to the ApeChain, happy to help you with coordinating towards the Banana Bill program as it comes live, happy to help you find your way over to ThankApe, where you can just engage with different projects and earn ApeCoin if you don't have it yet. Plenty of different things going on in the community. Do appreciate everybody for spending their morning here with us. And there's so many stages going on. I saw Garga's over there talking on Squiddy's stage. The community is decentralized. Somebody's going to have to send a definition of decentralized next time they're fudding something for not being sufficiently decentralized. I'm pulling it out. Josh, is there anything that you wanted to say that you didn't have a chance to say, anything that you wanted to cover, anything that you wanted to ask? I don't want to push us over the time and merge into the Bored Ape space.
No, just a reminder, go vote, whatever you feel. Your voice matters. And if you got ApeCoin, make a decision, yay or nay. But we appreciate you all.
Tiger had her PFP, now she's gone. I don't know if you're talking through the council's account or not, but Tiger, thank you for helping us with coordinating all this. Was there anything that you did want to say? And we're ready to go.
Yeah, just a couple pinned tweets up top. Number one, if you're an MBA brand or product, check out Spicy's tweet about potentially having your product featured at the bodega during ApeFest. The deadline is on Monday, so you guys have just this week to fill that out. No guarantee for everybody, but it's just, it's worth a shot for real. Secondly, the BAYC community spaces is also pinned up top. I just saw Baron exit, so I think he's gonna start that up soon. So everybody, we'll see you next time. We'll catch you on the next spaces. Thank you everybody for joining us today.
Thank you again, Tiger, and thank you, Juan and Spencer and Jordan. I know Cameron had to dip out, but thank you guys for spending the time with us and answering the questions. And Josh, thanks for letting us come up here and trample all over the stage. Juan, was there something else you wanted to let everybody know?
No, just saying thank you.
You're going back into the office. We're throwing you back.
No, thank you. Appreciate it. It was a pleasure. Talk to you guys soon.
Thank you. And if you guys aren't, make sure you're following Spencer and the blue ApeCurian up here. Tap in for ApeChain. Tap in for the Banana Bill. Get your votes in within the next 48 hours or so. You got Wednesday, 6 p.m. PST to get your votes in, and a fresh set of proposals going live Thursday this week. Thanks also to the Other Page team for being up here and for tuning in with us throughout the discussion.
Powered by Dixo and ApeCoin.